กำลังผสมตรงหน้าระวังวันนิยาอุด
And that's the royal address by His Majesty the King on this grand event, the military parade in commemoration of the 50th anniversary of His Majesty the King's accession to the throne.
As you can see in the air is the air contingent of this parade. You can see parachutists from the Special Warfare Command trailing smoke in the colors of the flags and passing by in front of the Royal Pavilion.
Supreme Commander and senior officers are now returning to their positions in the pavilion, and in a moment there will be the preparation for the military parade. This is the live picture, live telecast of the event from Bangkok, Thailand. The Royal Thai Armed Forces Parade in commemoration of the Golden Jubilee of His Majesty the King's accession to the throne.
The preparation for the military parade will now commence. The bugler will signal the formation to prepare for the royal parade with 2 bugle calls.
Commander of the combined forces will soon give the order to present arms to honor the unit colors. The band is now playing the national anthem as the unit colors are being marched back to their individually designated vehicles. has now stopped playing. The colors guards are now in position on their vehicles. Commander of the combined forces is now giving the command to order arms. Commander of the combined forces gives the command for the personnel to mount their vehicles. This is all in the process of starting the adjustment of the formation for the parade. Commander of the combined forces gives the command to start the engines. All vehicles now have their engines running and their headlights turned on. Commander of the combined forces gives the order to adjust the formation for the parade. At the same time, Commander of the combined forces and his command group march back to their designated vehicles. The combined forces will now adjust the formation for the parade. The parade is due to commence at 16:55 hours local time, or 10:55 hours Greenwich Mean Time.
They fly at 540 kilometers an hour at about 210 meters high.
The parade has now commenced, and the motorcycle columns of the 11th Military Police Battalion has already commenced march, followed by Combined Forces Headquarters vehicles leading the 1st to the 8th Regiments.
Is the Combined Forces Commanders Headquarters group. There are 22 vehicles in the group. Leading the group is a 12 motorcycle formation. On the Humvees are 40 officers drawn from the 3 armed forces, with Lieutenant General Binit Krachangson as the Combined Forces Commander. The 1st Regiment Command Group has just passed by, composed of 55 men on 6 Humvees, the regimental commander being Colonel Kamon San Isara. What you saw just pass by was the unit colors of the 1st Battalion, drawn from the 1st Infantry Battalion, 11th Infantry Regiment. The 1st Battalion is commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Pariwat Palasin. Behind the battalion commander is the unit colors, the battalion staff, and the combat vehicles. There are 24 vehicles in this battalion. 4 in the command group, 4 1/4-ton four-wheel drive utility vehicles with mounted M60 machine guns, 4 1/4-ton four-wheel drive utility vehicles mounted with 106mm recoilless rifles, 4 Humvees with 120mm mortars, 4 1 1/4-ton Unimogs with 120mm mortars, and 4 troop-carrying Unimogs.
Now you can see that full L-39 is flying over the parade ground.
The 1st Battalion is just finishing their passing review in front of the Royal Pavilion. Next is the 2nd Battalion of the 1st Regiment. The 2nd Battalion is drawn from the 3rd Infantry Battalion, 12th Infantry Regiment King's Guard, with Lieutenant Colonel Niran Bibitgun as the battalion commander. The battalion has 24 vehicles, 4 in the command group, followed by 12 M113A2 tracked armored personnel carriers armed with a 50 caliber machine gun and an M60 machine gun. 4 M125 armored personnel carriers with 81mm mortars, and 4 M113A2 tracked armored personnel carriers mounted with TOWs. TOWs, T-O-W, are an acronym for Tube Launch, Optically Tracked, Wire-Guided Missiles. They can be portable or mounted and is a heavy anti-tank weapon. You can see the TOWs on the last row of the APCs coming into view. There you can see the outlines of the TOW on the last row of the APCs. The 3rd Battalion coming in front of the pavilion is drawn from the 2nd Infantry Battalion, 19th Infantry Regiment, commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Pichet Asadanuwat. Unit weapons consist of 4 1/4-ton four-wheel drive vehicles with mounted M60 machine guns, 4 1/4-ton vehicles with mounted 106mm recoilless rifles, 1/4-ton Humvees towing 120mm mortars, 4 1 1/4-ton Unimog troop carriers, that's the recoilless rifle. The Humvees towing the 120mm mortars. This is a cut back to the 2nd Battalion with the APCs. And finally, 4 1 1/4-ton Unimogs with mounted 81mm mortars.
You're watching the live telecast of the Royal Thai Armed Forces parade in commemoration of the 50th anniversary of His Majesty the Kings of Thailand's accession to the throne.
Here you see the 2nd Regiment. The 2nd Parade Regiment Command Group is drawn from the 1st Cavalry Regiment King's Guard with Colonel Suriya Sakunchad as the commander. The command group is on 6 M48A5 tanks. The tanks are armed with 105mm guns and 2 machine guns. Passing is the command group on the 6 M48A5 tanks. And following the command group, regimental command group, is the battalion. You can see the unit colors in your screen on the Humvees. The 1st Battalion is drawn from the 27th Cavalry Squadron with Colonel Acha Naisisuk as the squadron commander. The squadron is a reconnaissance cavalry battalion organic to the 2nd Cavalry Division. Combat vehicles are 4 1/4-ton utility vehicles with mounted M60 machine guns and 12 Type 21 Scorpion light tanks. 4 Type 85 tracked armored personnel carriers with 12.7mm anti-aircraft artillery guns, and 4 85 tracked armored personnel carriers with 120mm mortars. What you see coming in to view now are the Scorpion light tanks. The Scorpion is a light tank weighing approximately 8 tons. It is armed with a 76mm gun and a Jaguar engine capable of propelling the tank up to a speed of 80 kilometers per hour with an operational radius of 680 kilometers. Those last two rows are the Type 85 tracked armored personnel carriers with 12.7mm AAA guns and 120mm mortars. The second unit is coming in, which is the 2nd Battalion of the 2nd Regiment, drawn from the 5th Cavalry Battalion, King's Guard, with Lieutenant Colonel Chayut Ramsuk, battalion commander. The battalion's combat vehicles are 16 M48A5 main battle tanks. The M48A5 main battle tank is served by a crew of 4 of cast steel. It is armed with a 105mm gun and a 7.62mm coaxial machine gun. The commander has a mounted M60 machine gun. It is capable of speeds up to 48 kilometers an hour with an operational radius of 500 kilometers. These are the M48A5s. You'll notice that the commander standing on the top has a 7.62mm machine, M60 machine gun. And you can tell the difference between the M48A5 and the M60 tank from the commander's position. The M48 has the mounted gun, but the M60 will have a commander's cupola. Immediately after this M48A5 battalion will come the 3rd Battalion, which has M60s. Force and the Navy jets are continuing to fly overhead in flights of 4s with F-16s, F-5s, and Navy A-7s.
Now you can see the flight of 4A7, a maritime strike fighter from the Thai Navy.
The last of the M48A5s have passed by the Royal Pavilion, and coming into view is the 3rd Battalion drawn from the 20th Cavalry Division, King's Guard, with Lieutenant Colonel Ukrit Suwanbupa as the commander. The battalion's combat vehicles are 27 M60A1 main battle tanks. The unit's colors have just passed by His Majesty the King. The hull and the turret are of cast steel. The main armament is a 105mm M68 rifled tank gun capable of firing 6 to 8 rounds per minute with a 4,400-meter maximum range. A 7.62 M240 machine gun is mounted coaxial to the gun, and there is a 50 caliber M85 machine gun in the commander's cupola. That is a miniature turret that you see on top of the main turret. The tank is capable of speeds up to 48 kilometers per hour, and due to its 750 horsepower engine, it can move up to 48 kilometers per hour. It has an operating radius of 500 kilometers.
In the sky, over the parade ground, there are 2 flights of 4 F-16A and B, 2 flights of 4 F-5EFs, 1 flight of 4 L-39 from the Thai Air Force, and 1 flight of 4 A-7 maritime strike fighter from the Thai Navy. flying at 540 kilometers an hour at 210-meter height, using 20-second separation.
Here you see passing at part of the 27 M60A1s that are in the 3rd Battalion. You can see that the turrets of the M60A1 and of the M48A5s are quite different and distinctive. Not only is the difference at the commander's cupola, but also the turret itself, the main turret. The M60 is larger and sloping on both edges to the front, approaching the gun. Moving into the Royal Pavilion area is the 3rd Regiment. Coming up on the 6 vehicles you see in the front of the picture are the 3rd Regiment Command Group, which is formed from the 1st Anti-Aircraft Artillery Regiment with Colonel Nantawat Rujirawat as the commander. As in all regiments, the regimental command group will lead the 3 battalions. The battalion commander will be followed by the unit colors, and then the battalion staff, and then the combat or combat support vehicles. You are seeing the colors of the 1st Battalion of the 3rd Regiment. The 1st Battalion is composed of 24 vehicles from the 5th Anti-Aircraft Artillery Battalion, commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Surajai Jitjang. Some of the important combat assets are the 20mm anti-aircraft artillery gun, also known as the Vulcan system, 12 of those mounted on M113 armored personnel carrier platforms, and 8 being towed. Has a maximum range of 4,500 meters and an effective range of 1,200 or 2,000 meters for aerial targets and ground targets respectively. It has a maximum fire rate of 3,000 rounds per minute. These are the Vulcans. 12 mounted on M113 armored personnel carrier platforms and 8 being towed.
For Navy pilot flying over the sky are Commander Warapon Thong Picha, Lieutenant Commander Chetha Lienratwong, Lieutenant Commander Reungyut Potharamit, and Lieutenant Commander Kirisak Wong Prakop. Speaking of the capabilities of A7 attack aircraft, it has the operation radius over 500 nautical miles. Its endurance is over 4 hours. It can be loaded with a weight of armament about 6,000 kilograms. It can fly at the maximum speed at the mean sea level at 600 miles per hour. And because of the maritime environment, the requirement of the maritime aircraft is very high, and aircraft must have anti-corrosion equipment.
Those are the towed Vulcans.
May I continue with the requirement of the maritime aircraft? It must have anti-corrosion equipment needed to protect the aircraft from a long period of operation over the sea. Long-range communication system, more navigation, aid system, sea life-saving equipment, and well-trained naval pilots who are familiar with the maritime environment. And in the near future, the Royal Thai Navy will commission AV-8, which is another attack aircraft well known as Sea Harrier. In addition, Seahawk is also another important military asset that the Royal Thai Navy will be having in service to enhance the strength and capability of the Royal Thai Navy.
The 2nd Battalion is composed of 24 vehicles from the 4th Anti-Aircraft Artillery Battalion commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Prisha Sapiran. Behind the commander is unit colors, which has a Ratanaporn Commendation for bravery graciously granted by His Majesty the King in 1981. The important combat and combat support vehicles are 4 lads on 5-ton trucks, 8 towed 57mm anti-aircraft artillery guns, and 8 M42 systems composed of twin 40mm anti-aircraft artillery guns mounted on an M41 tank platform. What you see in the screen are the LADs. The LADs are low-altitude air defense radar systems, effective in a 60-kilometer radius, capable of detecting target, distance, and direction. It is also capable of multiple target acquisition, simultaneously 64 targets. Here is the 57mm anti-aircraft artillery guns that have a 6-kilometer effective range and an 8.8-kilometer maximum range.
The F-16A and B is the most advanced fighter in the Air Force. The F-16AB is a single turbofan engine jet fighter aircraft. The maximum speed is 2.05 times the speed of sound, or 2,400 kilometers per hour, equipped with a 20mm gun, a 30mm gun, air-to-air guided missile, air-to-surface guided missiles, and guided bombs. The modern technology design features are in the navigation system, weapon system, and flight control system.
The 3rd Battalion. The 3rd Battalion is formed from the 7th Anti-Aircraft Artillery Battalion commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Awut Sangtawan. Following the unit colors are 8 Humvees with personnel carrying HN-5A missile launchers and 8 5-ton trucks towing 4 flycatcher radar fire control systems and towing 4 40mm L-70 anti-aircraft artillery guns. And finally, 4 towed Sparta guided missile surface-to-air missile systems. What you're seeing is the HN-5A missile launchers, which are infrared guided anti-aircraft missiles. Those are the HN-5As. Following the HN-5As are the L-70s, which can fire at 300 rounds per minute with an effective range of 4,000 meters. And right at the end of the battalion formation, you'll see the Spartas. The Spartas can fire 6 Espide guided missiles at a range of 15 kilometers and target height of 6,000 meters. And there's 6 of those to a unit, and that's coming into the left side of your screen. That's the 5-ton truck towing the Sparta system. Each has 6 Espide guided missiles.
The F-16AB has been in the service since 1988, being used in the air superiority mission, defense mission, and airstrike mission.
Next is the 4th Regiment. The 4th Regiment Command Group is formed from the 71st Artillery Regiment with Colonel Picha Watanatari as the commander. Following the Regimental Command Group is the 1st Battalion. The 1st Battalion is formed from the 721st Artillery Battalion commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Buntam Orit. The main combat assets are 8 M109A5 self-propelled howitzers and 8 M992 tracked ammunition trucks. Here you see seeing the pictures of the Royal Plaza where those that have already passed the Royal Pavilion are forming up. These are M109A5 self-propelled howitzers. You notice that the personnel in the vehicles, they are at squares, which means that they have their arms extended horizontally out in the front, with their folded at the elbows, with their right forearm on top of their left forearm. Once they approach the Royal Pavilion, they'll drop their arms and hands to the position of attention and then salute His Majesty as they pass on the orders of eyes right. Right, passing the Royal Pavilion is the last of the tracked ammunition trucks. The 2nd Battalion is formed from the 711th Artillery Battalion, commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Nopadon D. Uom. The main combat assets are 8-toed M198 155mm howitzers and 4 wheeled ammunition trucks. The M198 howitzers have a 30-kilometer range, firing at 4 rounds per minute. The ammunition truck can hold 350 M107 rounds and has a built-in loading-unloading system. You'll see that the troops are in the fatigues with a yellow scarf. And the yellow signifies that they are of the artillery, and is the color of the full regalia in the parade to honor His Majesty the King on his birthday, of the parade of the Royal Guards.
The Royal Thai Air Force F-5EF is a 2 turbojet engine jet fighter aircraft. The maximum speed is 1.54 times the speed of sound, or 1,830 kilometers per hour. Equipped with 20mm guns, guided air-to-air missiles, guided air-to-surface missiles, and guided bombs. The weapon system has been upgraded to the modern technology weapon system. The F-5EF has been in the service since 1978, being used in air defense mission and airstrike mission.
The 3rd Battalion is now passing the front of the Royal Pavilion. The 3rd Battalion is formed from the 723rd Artillery Battalion, commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Chanatip Unnap. The battalion's main offensive capabilities derive from 8 155mm GHN 45A1 artillery guns, towed by 10-ton trucks, and 4 10-ton ammunition trucks. The GHN has a maximum range of nearly 40 kilometers and can fire at a maximum rate of 4 rounds per minute and a sustained fire rate of 2 rounds per minute. Behind the 4th Regiment, you see the command group of the 5th Regiment and the 1st Battalion of the 1st Regiment, which is from the engineers. The 5th Regimental Command Group is drawn from the 11th Engineer Regiment, commanded by Colonel Jaran Warapong. The composition of the regiments is from the engineer, signal, and ordnance branches of the Army, each forming 1 battalion. The 1st Battalion is composed of 44 vehicles from the 111th Engineering Battalion construction, with Colonel Kanit Jamjantra as the commander. Important combat support vehicles include trucks just passing by the front of the Royal Pavilion, 2 mine-clearing rocket systems and 2 foxhole diggers in the 2nd row, medium-grade bridge-level boats and bridges of a 60-ton capacity. That's the mine-clearing rocket system. MGB bridges and boats. Two mobile Army bridge vehicles with a 50-ton capacity and two mobile artesian well drillers. Those are followed by 4 cranes and 2 radio-controlled bulldozers for mine clearing. The rest of the vehicles include 2 payloaders, 2 rescue vehicles for emergency relief, 2 graders, 2 scrapers, 2 pavers, 2 excavators, and 2 bulldozers towing rippers. These military assets in the possession of the Army engineers have been extensively used to assist in the development of the rural areas, especially in projects in keeping with His Majesty's wishes and His Majesty's royal and royally initiated projects.
You're watching live telecast of the Royal Thai Armed Forces Parade in commemoration of the 50th anniversary of His Majesty the King of Thailand's accession to the throne, which is taking place along Ratchadamnern Klang Avenue, Main Road in the center of Bangkok, Thailand.
The 2nd Battalion of the 5th Regiment is composed of 26 vehicles formed from the 101st Signal Battalion, 1st Signal Regiment, with Colonel Somdet from Rung Reung as the battalion commander. Of the 26 vehicles in the battalion, the important assets are 2 MDX 2000 automatic switchboard vehicles and 2 5-ton LTV trucks capable of satellite communications. Other vehicles include 11 Humvees, 4 Unimogs, and 2 each of the 2.5 and 5-ton trucks. The 3rd Battalion is composed of vehicles formed from the Royal Thai Army Ordnance Division with Colonel Awut Amwong as the battalion commander. The combat support vehicles include 3 2.5-ton M609A1 combat support vehicle used in general maintenance, 12-ton tractor trailers with facilities for 155mm howitzer maintenance, 5-ton recovery vehicles of the M543A2 type, and various maintenance repair facilities on 1.25-ton Unimog trucks.
The Thai Air Force L-39 is a single turbojet engine aircraft. The maximum speed is 785 kilometers per hour. Equipped with a 23mm gun, modern air-to-air and air-to-surface missiles. The L-39 has been in service since 1995, being used in training new fighter pilots prior to fly the high-performance fighter aircraft such as F-5EF and F-16, and also used as a light strike aircraft.
Coming up is the 6th Regiment. This is the last regiment furnished by the Royal Thai Army. The regimental command group is formed from the Transportation Regiment, King's Guard, with Colonel Tepanak Chunhaspet as the commander. The 3 battalions in this regiment are formed from the Transportation, Quartermaster, and Medical departments, each furnishing 1 battalion. The 1st Battalion is formed from the 1st Transportation Battalion, commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Somsak Sak Anand. This battalion has 16 vehicles, and some of the important combat support vehicles are 12-ton M127A2C high-bed semi-trailers and low-bed semi-trailers. In this case, you'll see the low-bed semi-trailers carrying M60 tanks. Bed trailers passing, and then the low bed. Next is the the 2nd Battalion. The 2nd Battalion is composed of 16 vehicles from the Quartermaster Department, commanded by Major Chanin Poon Suk, the battalion commander. Some important vehicles are troop carriers, 12,000-liter tankers, refrigerated semi-trailer tractor trucks capable of minus 100 degrees Celsius temperature, and self-powered mobile leather and canvas factories towed by 2.5-ton trucks. See, the vehicles are passing by the Royal Pavilion and presenting a salute. After they have passed by the Royal Pavilion, they will go back to squares. The 3rd Battalion of the 6th Regiment is composed of vehicles from the Medical Department. The 16 vehicles are commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Rien Thong Nen Na, the battalion commander. He is currently an operations officer with the Medical Department. Important combat support vehicles are 4 Humvees equipped as ambulances, 4 M113 tracked armored personnel carriers outfitted as ambulances, 1 mobile field surgery truck, and 1 medical logistics truck.
Now here come the 7th Regiment. Combat vehicles and access include amphibious assault vehicles, heavy weapons mounted on Humvees, towed howitzer, air defense artillery, and radar-controlled air defense system. There are altogether 54 combat and combat support vehicles divided into 3 battalions. The regiment headquarters consists of 6 vehicles from the Artillery Regiment, Marine Division, Royal Thai Marine Corps. Captain Tasanai Kulasi Sambat is the commander. The 1st Battalion, from the Assault Amphibious Vehicle or AAV Battalion, under the command of Commander Cholit Jatwik. You would see in the first row is Humvee equipped with the anti-tank guns type TOW, which has 3,000 meters of firing range and can penetrate through 20-inch thick steel. Coming along in the 2nd and 3rd row is AAV-7, an armored amphibious full-tracked landing vehicle. Maximum load capacity 10,000 pounds. Number of crew 3 and 25 troops with combat equipment. Widest trench crossing 8 feet and highest wall climb 3 feet. The AAV-7 has fastest forward speed 45 minutes per hour on land and 8.2 meters per hour in water. And the 2nd Battalion, comprised of 16 vehicles and personnel from the 1st Artillery Battalion, Artillery Regiment, Royal Thai Marine Corps. Commander Supasek Surik Sangchai is the commander of the 2nd Battalion. In the first row are 4 150mm light guns and 2.5-ton towing vehicles. This gun can be brought into or taken out of action within just 30 to 60 seconds. Can be towed by a wide range of light vehicles. Maximum rate of fire is 12 rounds per minute. Maximum rate is 16,700 meters, operated by a crew of 6. And in the 2nd row are CG-45 155mm guns howitzer. Maximum range 40 kilometers, further than of the Army, and maximum rate of fire 4 rounds per minute. Operated by the crew of 8. Normally, is towed by a standard 10-ton truck with speed of 90 kilometers per hour. And in the 3rd row, there are 4 GHN-45 155mm guns howitzer. This gun is fitted with the APU on front of the carriage with the driver on the right. The APU, or an auxiliary power power unit enables the weapon to propel itself on roads at maximum speed of 30 kilometers per hour or 22 miles per hour. And the 3rd Battalion, there are 16 vehicles from the Coastal and Air Defense Command. Commander Wanlok Thap Tim is the commander. The first row are 4 GHN-45 155mm guns howitzer, which is the same type of gun used in the 2nd Battalion, but there is no APU here. And in the second row, there are 4 130mm field gun type 59-1. This gun is light in weight and good in mobility and very easy to operate and carry out maintenance. It can also provide continuous support for tank and infantry operations. Maximum range at 27 kilometers and maximum rate of fire 8 rounds per minute. Coming along in the 3rd row on the right-hand side, you would see the twin-close anti-aircraft 37mm with fire control type 702. It can fire at the target in 3 dimensions, as if in the air, on land, and at sea. The maximum rate of fire is 30 rounds per minute, and the maximum range 16.6 kilometers. And in the 3rd row on the left-hand side, the close anti-aircraft 40mm. They are very formidable piece of arms to perform point and area defense mission. It can be interfaced with a fire catcher and has searching and tracking antenna controlled by computer. It can search the target within 20 kilometers and can also keep track of the target within 15 kilometers. That's all for the Royal Thai Navy.
Up is the 8th Parade Regiment. The 8th Parade Regiment is arranged from the Royal Thai Air Force Security Force Command. The regiment is composed of 2 armored combat vehicle battalions and 1 anti-aircraft artillery battalion. The total of 16 Condor armored combat vehicles, 8 Commodore V-150 armored combat vehicles, 4 units each of 37mm, 40mm and 37mm anti-aircraft artillery, 30 other combat support vehicles and 314 personnel. The regiment is commanded by Group Captain Chala Thanomlek. The 1st Battalion Commander is Wing Commander Virayut Champiran. The 2nd Battalion Commander is Wing Commander Kadun Sangsu. Wing Commander Tanit Changtai is the 3rd Battalion's Commander. The Commander Armored Combat Vehicle has been in service since 1993, equipped with a 20mm artillery and 7.26 machine gun and 866mm grenade launcher. Maximum speed on the road is 100 kilometers an hour. The Commodore V-150 Armored Combat Vehicle has been in service since 1979, equipped with an 0.5-inch artillery, a 7.62 machine gun, 12 76mm grenade launchers. Maximum speed on the road is 99 kilometers an hour. The 37mm artillery has the maximum range of 8,500 meters, effective range of 3,500 to 4,000 meters, and 440 to 480 rounds a minute, maximum rate of fire, and has been in service since 1988. The 4th 40 millimeters artillery has the maximum range of 12,500 meters, effective range of 4,000 to 5,000 meters, and 240 to 260 rounds a minute maximum rate of fire, and has been in the service since 1987. The 30 millimeters artillery has the maximum range of 7,500 meters, the effective range of 3,000 meters, and 16 rounds a minute, the maximum rate of fire, and has been in the service since 1988.
As units march past Panfalila Bridge, all vehicles are parked along Ratchadamnern Nok Avenue, and personnel disembark in preparation for Their Majesty's departure. The band, officers of the Royal Thai Armed Forces headquarters and the Cadets Regiment will then take up their position in front of the Royal Pavilion. Here in the picture you can see His Majesty the King, Her Majesty the Queen, and Her Royal Highness Princess Mahachakri Sarinthorn. This is the live telecast of the Royal Thai Armed Forces Parade in commemoration of the 50th anniversary of His Majesty the King of Thailand's accession to the throne, which is taking place along Ratchadamnern Klang Avenue, Bangkok, Thailand. This is the main road in the center of Bangkok, and the time in Bangkok is now 20 minutes past 5 p.m. On the left of the picture is His Royal Highness Crown Prince Mahawachiralongkorn.
As you have seen, the military parade to celebrate the 50th anniversary of His Majesty the King's accession to the throne today has displayed the Royal Thai Armed Forces military strength and readiness quite convincingly. The armed forces are continually being modernized to keep up with the modern technology, and the military strength displayed today is an assurance to His Majesty the King and to the people of Thailand that the armed forces is ready to protect the independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity of the nation.
Commander of the Combined Forces is now giving the order to present arms. Their Majesties the King and Queen are now departing by the royal car.
His Majesty has graciously stopped to talk with the Commander-in-Chiefs of the three services and the Supreme Commander.
In a moment, you will hear the band playing the royal anthem. And translation of the royal anthem goes as follows. We, Your Majesty's loyal subjects, pay homage with deep heartfelt veneration to the supreme protector of the realm, the mightiest of monarchs, complete with transcendent virtues, under whose benevolent rule we, your subjects, receive protection and happiness, prosperity and peace, and we wish that whatsoever your Majesty may desire, the same may be fulfilled. The royal car is now leaving the royal pavilion, which is located at the end of the Klang Avenue near Panfalila. Commander of the Combined Forces will now lead the cheer long line, followed in unison 3 times by the Combined Forces. The gun salute is fired. The royal anthem anthem is being played.